Partnerem této epizody je sázková kancelář Typ Sport.
Vítejte u další, tentokrát výjimečně odložené části našeho podcastu, který vlastně navazuje na to, o čem jsme se bavili i v sestavě se Zdeňkem o uplynulém dění ohledně zápasů Sparty a výkonů a jednotlivých hráčů a tak dále, což jste už pravděpodobně slyšeli. Dnes máme tu možnost a čest přivítat zde jednoho z našich speciálních hostů a tím je bývalý hráč Sparty a v současné době její zaměstnanec Costa. I'm glad to see you and welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much for hosting me here, and I really appreciate that you decided to let me speak in English. Samozřejmě, že mluvím česky a rozumím. Učím každý den, ale když chceme do detaily, tak myslím, že lepší v angličtině, takže thank you for that.
Thank you. Tímto vlastně už náš host vysvětlil to, že jsme se rozhodli tento podcast uspořádat převážně v anglickém jazyce. Doufáme, že to pro vás nebude žádný problém. Samozřejmě připraveny jsou titulky, které už pravděpodobně vidíte, za což děkujeme našemu stříhači Tomášovi a pravděpodobně také i našim pravidelnějším, řekněme, posluchačům, kteří s tím určitě pomohli. Děkujeme.
Přesně tak. Celou epizodu si budete moci pustit na našem profilu herohero.co/ Sparťanské Noviny a partnerem této epizody je společnost Typ Sport a teď už přepneme
Fully to the English. Okay, Costa. What does the Sparta Prague mean for you currently?
Well, I've always said before that Sparta Prague for me it's a way of life. And by a way of life, I mean that it's not only about football. I've been in other football clubs, and I grew up playing football in the ghetto. And when I came to Sparta, this was a different level, and I learned a lot of things in Sparta Prague. When we talk about culture, when we talk about history, when we talk about environment, new people, everything. So for me, that became a way of life, and I came at a club which always fight for top honors. It doesn't matter what happens, but the objective is always to fight to be the top. It doesn't matter what happens. So because of that, you develop a spirit inside of you that you always want to be at the top, and that way for me, it became a way of life. So it's not only about football. For me, it's a way of life.
It feels like the whole organization of Sparta Prague is something else in compare with you been playing at the other clubs. But I think the other clubs were such a good teams. For example, in Poland, it was part of your career, and in the part of career of everybody, there are such up and downs. And what will you remember in connection with your Sparta days as the best ever what you experienced?
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, other clubs like in Poland, in Lumin, they are also part of my career, and that's important. That's an important point. I appreciate that. So talking about, you asked about the best moments in Sparta Prague.
Yeah.
Well, for me, usually in football, you talk about winning titles, winning games, winning cups, European competitions. But I would like to look at it at a different angle. For me, the connection and the relationship that I have developed with the people in Sparta Prague, the whole group, that for me was one of the biggest success. We won the title, and we had a good run in the Europe League, but it was the relationship with the people, that even when things are not going right, you are able to talk personally. You are able to have that connection. In professional football, you are not supposed to have a personal relationship. You're supposed to perform on the pitch. But if you are able to have that personal relationship, that's extra. And the way I was able to relate with the other players, people around the club, so that kind of human investment for me, it's one of the best things that happened for me at Sparta Prague.
Was it something you expected from Sparta, or was it something that grew on you, or over the years, or?
Right. I didn't expect it. You know, I usually don't want to work with expectations. You know, when I was growing up in the ghetto, you know, you don't expect to get anything, you know. You just get what you get right there, you know. So usually I don't want to work with expectation. But what happened is, before I came here, I looked up the club a little bit, and I was told about the history of the club. So I figured out that, you know, you could meet people with different egos. You know, it was a bigger club, and I was coming from Lubin. So I thought, you know, I would have to deal with, let's say, big egos. So I came to the club. Of course, you know, you have players with different ambitions, but it was a little bit different for me. I was quick to integrate with the group, and that made it easier for me. You know, that it made the life easier, and that way I was able now to start developing, connecting with the people. You know, gradually. And it suited for me very well.
Was there a particular moment that comes up to your mind when it happened and you just said, well, Sparta is now part of my life?
Yeah, the very first question during the is it press conference, I think, when I came. So the question was, if I remember very well, okay, Costa, now you're here in the club, and what do you think about your position in the team? You know, you're going up against some talented youngsters. Do you think you'll be able to fight, or you'll be able to fight for your position? You know, so right at that moment, I was like, yeah, well, welcome to my world. You know, it was like they're talking about fighting. So yeah, perfect. You know, and always the ghetto spirit always in me, you know. It's like, okay, fighting, you know, I'm fighting from a little kid, and I'm fighting every day. So if they're talking about fighting, you know, this is the place, this is my place. And from that moment, I was like, you know, I can't have that drive, you know, that, okay, it's about the fight. Obviously you come in the club and you know that you are competing against other best players in whatever position, which is healthy for the club or healthy for the team. But, you know, just that question, it put the impulse on me, like, you know, here we go, man, you know.
Yeah, I feel strong spirit from the words you are saying, because we are living in such a comfortable way in Middle Europe, and we might don't know this that much. But was this spirit of your mentality different in winter of 2008 when you came to WSS Wisla, to Poland for the first time?
Yeah, man, you know, it's interesting that you bring me back to that, you know, and right now, okay, before I started writing a book, you know, so I think in the future you will know about it for sure. So there's a lot to it. So like you say, when I came to Poland the first time, you know, jump out of the plane, February, I was with two of my friends. I think it was in Wrocław or Krakow, I don't remember. And we look outside, man. It's all white, right? First time.
Crazy.
Yeah. And we look at each other, my friend. Look, how you play football here like this, right? This is the first question. How you play football like this? And my guy said, it's impossible, man. It can't happen. I said, okay, you know, let's go and see what happens. And again, the guy who promised us that we are going to be in an academy in Poland, everything he told us was not what we saw there, right? We got there, it's 7th league, it's like amateur club. Sometimes we go to the game or to the training, we are only 4 or 5 people, you know. So everything was different, you know.
Sounds like Sunday league in Great Britain.
Exactly. But okay, we got there again, and I was like to my friends, I was like, guys, we have two options, you know. Either we leave this place, we go back to Zim, or we try, right? And my guys were not really into it. They were like, yeah, you know, this is not it, you know, we have been doped here, you know. And I said, no, but we're already here. Let's try, right? So again, that spirit, right?
Determination, motivation.
Right. So we wake up in the morning, you know, before we go for breakfast, you know, it was in the mountains. Very nice village or nice town. I like it. In the mountains, I said, look, we have the mountains. 1, 2, we were staying in one room. 3 of us, we were in one room, and the room was just next to the training ground. So, you know, you just open, you see the ground. So I was like, hey, look, we have the ground here. We have the mountains. Let's try and see what's going to happen, you know. So we pick up with the spirit, run in the morning, you know, get some balls and train in this cold weather. So it was like a, you know, internal spirit, the internal strength. This is what, you know, drove me from the beginning.
Was it always your vision, your goal, or maybe dream to play abroad in Europe when you were, for example, a teenager?
Yeah, you know, these interesting questions, because like I told you, you know, I had a journalist from the club, Lucas, I think you know him, and he was always like to me, hey, Costa, you know, these stories, you know, why you don't put it in a book? And I was like, yeah, but I'm already on the book myself, you know, but you need to make it structured or something official. I was like, okay, we're going to do it. So all this stuff, you know, it's on the way. So like you say, was it always a goal? No, it wasn't. I was in the countryside, you know. I was a head boy, which means I was taking care of the cattle. And over there, no radio, no TV, you know, nothing. I didn't even know about the world famous players, or I didn't even know the format of Champions League, Europe League. All I was doing was taking care of livestock at home and helping the grandparents around. And going to school. That was it. And play football whilst we wait for cattle. And this football was made of plastic. We made it ourselves. Kick the ball around. And that was it. There was no this special dream. Like, you know, okay, I have idols and I'm going to follow that. It wasn't like that. So it was life in the countryside. And then, you know, because of family reasons, moved again to the ghetto, and then in the ghetto continued to play football in the streets without any special ambition. And I went high school. Concentration was on school. I went to high school, and then in the high school we were playing school football and a small Division 2 club, you know, for fun after school. And during this time, somebody just saw me and say, hey, let's try for Premier League in Zimbabwe. I was like, yeah, okay, we can try. But my concentration was on school. So I passed the trial. So they said, okay, we take care of your schooling and everything, but you play for us. So it was in the other town, the second biggest town, city in Zimbabwe, Bulawayo. So this was Amazulu FC. So I finished my high school whilst I was now playing for Amazulu. But still no special ambition of saying like, you know, I'm going to go pro. I'm going to go outside of the country. This only started when I finished high school already. I think I was already, over 19, 20, when Grabowski came in now with a proposal to go to Poland. That's when I said, oh, going to Europe. Okay. Let's try. You know.
It's quite tough for us to imagine, isn't it?
We can't imagine, like, look, we are living like comfortable life in the middle of Europe. I was born in Prague. I can't imagine, man.
Yeah, sure. Michael.
Before you came to Letná, you spent 5 years at Zagłębie Lubin. I hope I pronounce it well because your Polish is way better than mine. How was life there? What memories, I hope that they are good, you have?
Yeah, man, that was another you know, chapter, you know, in Lubin. Very very good club. You know, I have fond memories about the club. You know, I had also a lot of coaches in that club. You know, maybe 10 over 10. And the city is it's a small town. I remember the first time I went to open a bank account, and nobody speaking English in the bank, you know, and I had to leave it that day. I said, yeah, okay, I will come another day, you know. So I started now the process of learning Polish. So I was learning Polish in my own language. So what I mean is, at the hotel I was living, there was the receptionist. So I would go there at night to the receptionist with a paper, and I started to ask her. She was speaking English. How do you say this in Polish? So she tell me, and I write in Shona, right? For example, if she say, how are you, or good morning is dobry den, but I write dobry den in Shona. Okay. You know, so I
phonetically most of all.
Yeah, everything. So I had my paper every time, and I, you know, memorizing it. Then I had to go to the bank again after, I think, 3 weeks. I knew all now how to say, how are you? Can I open a bank account? You know, and by that time, I think they already prepared somebody for English because I came before. So I came and say, hello, how are you? Can I open a bank account in Polish? I had learned this one. Yeah. And they were a little bit surprised, you know. It's like, unfortunately, that's all I know. They said, yeah, okay, we got somebody for in English for you. You know, so this was an interesting one, you know, for me. If I remember Poland, you know.
How long did it take? I imagine that afterwards club found you a lecture into Polish or something. How long did it take? No,
they didn't. You know how I learned Polish actually is we went in the winter, but when it was around May, June, started to get warmer, you know. So the block I was living, there were young kids. So after training, I used to sit outside with the young kids because the kids, they speak fluently, you know. They pronounce the words exactly as how they are. So I just sit there, you know. I learn from the guys in the dressing room, and I try to speak with the kids from at the block. And it was interesting because I remember there was this little girl. First time she came to me, she was greeting me, you know, but so hard in my hands, you know. And after she touched my hand, she ran away a little bit, and she started to check herself, you know, to see if
nothing's
color
wrong.
is changing or something, you know. So she did that for a couple of days, you know, 2 or 3 days. Every time greet me, like hard, and then run away and come back. I think she realized like, nothing is changing, you know. It's all the same. And yeah, we became friends now after that. Every time I come from training, I see them, you know, waiting for me there, and yeah, we start to speak. So I picked some words from there, and obviously every time, you know, I try to speak with the guys and just ask how it is like. So that way, I started to learn the language.
Okay, sounds like good memories.
Yeah, a lot
funny
of good
days,
memories.
maybe.
Yeah, funny days. That's true.
It wasn't fun like when it happened, but now it's a good story.
Yeah, but when it was happening, I was just, you know, wondering to myself. I was like, yeah, you know, young kids, you know. Yeah. I realized exactly what was going on her mind, you know.
Okay, let's leave Poland now. After 5 years at Lubin, you came to Letná. We know, or we read at the papers, that Sparta had to fight for your signing with clubs from Russia, Turkey, and
even Germany.
Even Germany. Could you tell us a bit of a background, how the process went?
Yeah, so honestly, I wasn't so much invested in it, in the clubs and everything, you know. It was just the agency, you know. So they come and they say, you know, we have clubs in Russia, in Germany, and in Turkey, you know, in Czech. Where do you want to go, you know? Something like this, because they have been following me. And I said, yeah, wherever it's going to be best conditions, you know, for me, where I can, let's say, enjoy the football. So I wasn't invested in whatever teams they were talking about, but I know that there was clubs interested in these regions, and finally they said, okay, I think concrete, we have Sparta Prague, on the table, and we think their philosophy or their vision is gonna match what you are like and what you want. I was pretty relaxed, man. I was just like, okay, let's go to Czech Republic and let's talk with them and let's find out. And that's how it happened. And then I came here, I met Ottawa. Yeah, and we talked. He took me to a Brazilian restaurant and we talked with a nice chat. And after he asked me, if you feel good, then we can go ahead. And it was simple like that for me.
Based on what you said, it sounds like you made a good decision that time.
Exactly, after along the way, then I realized like, oh yeah, I think I came at the right place.
And it might have been even better after first season you spent in Prague, because Sparta won a double and afterwards the Super Cup as well. So you might have been like in a dream that time, because it happened. And it looked like everything's fine and running smoothly, and Sparta is winning. You are happy, fans are happy. What else to wish for?
Yeah, it was good. It was good because when I was in Poland, after spending some time, I remember came a new sporting director, and I was like to him, I've been here for a long time. I want to find a new challenge to try and play for cups, for something. If we cannot do it as a team, maybe I could try it on my own. He was understanding. I was like, yeah, okay. So I came to Sparta, and in this first season, it happened like this. So it was almost perfect, It was almost perfect. It was interesting times. Although, I think we won the league with some 4 games to go or something like that. And for me, it wasn't in my mind, that we could win with 4 games to go and then celebrate. I was like, no, the celebration comes at the end of the match. I think if I remember very well, I missed the first day of celebration because another team, what's it, Pleasant? I don't know. They were playing with somebody else. So they lost or they drew, which means automatically we were first, But I was asleep already, at this time.
You didn't even know that you won the title, right?
No, I didn't know. I was asleep, and in the morning I saw, some calls.
I'm a champion. Whoa, let's get a breakfast.
Yeah, I just saw a lot of calls on my phone. I was like, yeah, what's happening? So, okay, champion. I was like, yeah, but 4 games to go, something like that. Yeah, but yeah, nice times.
It's also, as you know, the last time so far Sparta has won the title. We spoke with some of your teammates like Matěják or Lafay. We had them on the podcast as well. What made that team under Víťa Lavička so special?
Yeah, so in my own opinion, it was the chemistry. It had to be the chemistry that the team had. So I came, and I remember that we used to go out almost after every game for dinner together, the teams, and the partners or the players were also invited if they wanted to come. And there was a group, because that team was divided in senior players, experienced players, plus younger players, And when I was in the dressing room, I could see the distinction that, these are younger players and these are experienced players. But the fusion and the mix was I could say proper, and the chemistry was there. We used to go out, after the games, and that's where I learned most of my Czech as well, and I realized like these guys were so open, to teach me. For example, if I ask something, especially the younger group, this time was Skali, Pšikril, Krejci, this was the younger group, Kadej. If I just ask something, in Czech, or like, what does that mean? So somebody's coming from there and they come from there and then they come all together, say, hey, it means like this, So it was a good group, a lot of joking around the dressing room. So for me, the dressing room was solid with chemistry. I think this is what made the game interesting.
In the following years, however, the team underperformed.
Right.
You've never won another title. We will get to the Europa League, which I will ask about that. What happened there? Was it bad luck, or some players left, or?
Yeah, so it was a bit of let's say a surprise, you would say. So I think we went on a slump in form, and with a bit of bad luck also, because I think there are some other games that we could have won, but in the end we didn't win. We drew or we lost. So in football, there's always that period where things don't work right. I think we were in that period, and then the coach departed also, and we had another new coach, so it meant another adapted period to adapt, again, and I think all these factors came into place, and it was really a bad time for us, and we had other players leaving, and like I say, the coach is leaving, and time to adapt and adjust, because the group that we had already that chemistry that was strong, and breaking it, I think, could have been part of the problem.
Yeah. However, you gave us with the team many good memories, though, as well. I mean the Europa League campaign in 2016 that Michael already mentioned. Was it one of the highlights of your Sparta career?
Yeah, man, you could say that. Obviously, the first year, or the year that we won the title, was even more sweet. I still have the picture in my head. The last game, and then the fans come in the pitch, and I was next to Svejik, I think, and he was like to me, look, check this picture, remember about it, and it stays in my mind. I still see it now, so it was really sweet. However, the Europe League is another level. It's another let's say another part of the competition, which is which requires, or which is, let's say, on another level. It's a different level from the local league, and our run there, was man, I think it was phenomenal at that time, and people really started to know that there's Sparta Prague, let's say in Europe. Obviously, the club have been let's say successful in previous years, but our run at that time was phenomenal, and it was something that we were all proud of. That even we were not winning the title, but that we were doing well in the Europe League. So that's why I bring another element of bad luck. I don't want to dwell too much in the bad luck, because you just have to do the best on the pitch. But the fact that we were doing well in the Europe and not winning the title, it was a little bit of a paradox, something like
some kind of maybe sacrifice.
Yeah, some kind of like what is happening. This team, when we go in Europe, we play against these strong teams, good teams, and we managed to come up top, and we come to a local, and then it's different, So
I want to ask, like, when it comes to the Europa League run, I always have one picture in my head. Like, I'm at Letná. We are playing the second leg against Villarreal, which we lost 2-1 in Spain because David Bičík was phenomenal.
Right.
We could have lost like 5-0 or something, and we lost the first half 0-0, 4-0. Sorry. And in the second half, I never saw that before or after. The whole Letná was clapping. The whole second half, like everybody knew it's over. You scored, I think, Lafe and Dočky scored the 2 goals. Yeah. But the whole Letná is clapping, and we thanked you for the whole campaign. Like, that's my highlight from this era. Is there something that stands out for you?
Exactly, like you say, this is what I've always had in my mind all the time. That the game of football, the fans, they make the game. And we saw that, we felt that during the COVID. The fans, they make the game, and for me, the fans, they don't just support. They play the game. For me, the fans, they play the game. So I remember when we have corner kicks or something, I'm going there, with Dochki, Lafata, we have a strategy from the training. But, if you look around and you feel the vibe, like, the fans, they feel like something is coming. You feel it too, you feel it too. And it's that extra, power, extra motivation that the fans are playing. You don't feel that without the fans. You don't feel it. You're just going like, okay, it's empty. But with the fans, you feel it. So the fans, if they already don't know about it, they need to understand that their involvement in the game, especially when the team is not doing right, is vital. It's important. They drive the team. They drive the players. And like you said, we were 4-0 down. But the whole fans clapping and everything, all of a sudden it's an impulse, like we're all together. And, one goal, another goal, and you don't know what will happen if a little, time is added, and another goal again, it could have happened. So, like you said, for me also, this is a highlight also, because when I was in Lubin, okay, small town, small part of the funds, you come here, a little bit more funds, and it's a beautiful thing if everybody around the club or around the stadium is really supporting, with all their hearts. This is extra energy. It sounds
super sweet, and it's maybe sound a little bit more easier than it really was, because on your way, and there must have been still some obstacles that you have to go through. And maybe you can tell us what are the 2 or 3 crucial areas when you had to adapt in to be successful player in Europe?
Yeah, man. So, the first and the foremost, I think, for me personally, it had to be about the culture, the local culture. Why I say so, it's if you get at a new place, I'm coming from Zimbabwe. I'm coming from the ghetto. I have a different community completely there. And if I come here in a new community, my opinion was that I had to try and adapt, try and get something that the people do locally and try to mix it with what I already have. Because I thought if I would stay with my own ways, it could be difficult. So, for me, it was about learning about the culture and integrate in the society. So, the difficulties were in the weather, how to adapt to the weather. I remember in Poland, I came up now with the strategy of I was going to the gas station every time and take the plastic gloves, and the plastics from the feet. So I used to wear plastic first and then socks and then the shoes. Because without that, I remember some games my feet were frozen that I was only playing with a feeling like my leg is there.
But I'm not sure about it.
I'm not sure about it, but the leg is there, and I was like, nah, this cannot happen, And one time I almost had my fingers cut off because directly from freezing, I didn't know about it, I said, hot water, let's go for hot water, and it's freezing, and I put in hot water, and there was, they started to swell until somebody now told me, like, hey, if it's frozen, first you need to put in a cold water and defrost.
Do it slowly.
Do it slowly. That was a difficult moment for me, man. To adjust to the weather. But then I come up with the plastics. Yeah, the plastics, they kind of help because they retain the moisture. Obviously now the feeling in the leg is different, because you have plastic and it's sliding, But at least it was better because I could feel my leg. And the food was not so bad. You know, I just stuck to what I knew, like eating the rice only. And then the issue of the language, you know, was also, let's say, difficult in the beginning, because you meet some people and they don't speak English, for example, and you have to find a way to communicate, because I think communication is really important, you know. So I think this was some of the challenges that I can say I came, you know, and to adjust to the style of play.
Costa, let's move to Zimbabwe right now. How is the life going in your country? And could you tell us a little bit more? Because 99% of the people there don't know.
Yeah. You know, Zimbabwe is Zimbabwe. Home is home, you know. We have our own way of living, you know, like I was telling you. So we have, you know, the countryside, and we have the city, and we try to combine the two. And I'm originally from the ghetto, and life in the ghetto is almost the same ever since the beginning. You know, it's always about striving for survival. You know, people, the economic condition there is not so top, especially in the ghetto, but we have found a way of dealing with it. So, you know, we fight every day, and it's almost like a normal, you know. And on the sporting side, when it comes to football, not very well now, you know, because I think now we have a ban on international football because of some politics in the federation, which is bad on the youngsters, but hopefully, you know, it gets solved soon, and those will be open again. Yeah.
From what I found out, it isn't that easy. Economical depression, inflation crisis, and so on. These factors can affect the professional and even the amateur sport, because when there might be a professional sport, you have to grow it out of the amateur one to spread the football into every village. And this is something what you are helping with right now.
Exactly, like what you're talking about now. So if we are talking about the academy, for example, that, you know, I started. So the aim or the theme about is more on the social and the community, you know. So that's about education and school. You know, this is the thing that we are concentrating much on. And on the social and community part, it means that, you know, we're trying to teach the local people, you know, what's the setup of a professional football, you know, how it is like. And at the same time, you know, these kids, when they are growing up, trying to give them a platform of recreation and enjoying the game of football, because right now we don't have many training grounds like how they were before. The training grounds have been converted to residential stands. So now we're doing it at a school, you know, partnership with my former school. For me, this is important because it's like, you know, these kids, they need let's say a physical, safe environment, you know, and personal and economic safety environment where they can actually grow. So exactly like you were saying, it's a way, for me, it's a way of, let's say, give back to the community and try also to enlighten them about what football can bring, but at the same time not neglecting the aspect of education, because I feel like it's very important, especially for the youngsters.
Yeah. It always must be connected somehow.
100%.
In your country, it might be the level of connection might be a little bit higher because the general level is not that high. And if you are helping to both of the education and the sporting activities, is great. From what I found, CS Pro Academy is fighting the obstacles faced by local youth through football and education together. Our vision is to create a culture that provides a foundation for youth to reach their fullest potential on and off the field while having the ultimate football experience. I think this motto is what you've been talking already about. and it's not day-to-day business. It's a long project. And do you feel that you see first results of your work?
Yeah, sure. Like you say, it's not it's a long-term project. So as you can see from what you read, you know, there's the community and social aspect there that we want to create an environment of belonging, you know, where the kids are going to say, you know, we come from this institution, you know, we come from CS Pro, you know, we have our own academy, you know. If you check, you will see that sometime that the kids, they were with the hose, you know, trying to dig the ground, to prepare the ground. We want to instill that mentality of belonging, that everything doesn't come easy. We want to play football. Let's fix our own ground. Let's not wait for somebody to come. Let's do it for ourselves, you know, so that in the end they have that sense of belonging. Like they will say, well, we prepared for it. This is ours. We keep it very well, and if we go there, we work hard for it. You know, so that's the theme. And like you say, it's a long-term project. And right now, you know, we are coming to the 3rd year, and we're already seeing the results in the community. Mm-hmm. So the kids are now taking school seriously. Previously, it's always about when the kids start playing football, they neglect school. You know, and the community is always like, yeah, if you go to school, if you go to football, that's okay. And then the schools, they're a little bit also not putting extra, let's say...
focus on that.
Yeah, you know. So, but now in the academy, we're saying, come to the academy after you go to school. If you don't go to school, don't come to train with us, you know. Mm. We provide training facilities, everything. But if you don't go to school, don't come to us. And at the end of, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, we ask to see material from school. See that, are you attending school? And by attending school, we are not saying go there and pass and be the best in class. We are saying go there, follow the rules. If they say sit from 12 to 6, sit from 12 to 6. If you get work to do, do it. Let the teacher mark. If you get 0, perfect. You were there, you know, and you do the correction. So this type of mentality is what we're trying to instill, you know, and empower these kids and prepare them for the environment that they can enter.
How did actually the academy start? Because I remember when we had Matěják here, he was telling us that you, for example, always asked for the worn-out shoes from your teammates and so on. So it's a long-time project, and maybe some listeners or viewers doesn't know. So if you could tell us a little bit of history.
Yeah, so always when I was throughout my football journey, you know, I always had the reference of the ghetto youth, like back home, and this was for me always. I never lost the connection of where I came from, you know, because I know how it is like. So my idea was, my head was always thinking about how can I, you know, help this, because I know a number of kids who were much talented when we were growing up, but they couldn't make it for whatever reason. So I was always thinking like, what if, you know, these kids get a little help, what will happen? You know, you don't know what can happen in the future. So during my football career, I was always thinking like, how can I help the ghetto youths? How can the ghetto youths be empowered? And I always refer back to myself, like, look, I came from the ghetto, I came from this school, I made it in Europe, you know, I had transferred from one club to another, but what came back to the ghetto? Nothing. The ghetto is still the same, you know. And I was thinking like, why is it like that? Because we don't have structured institutions or structured academies, for example, where if somebody comes from Sparta Prague at, I don't know, 15 years, 16 years, and goes on to play for Juventus, it will be known, right? This player studied at this academy, studied in Sparta Prague. It will be part of the history of the player. And we don't have that, right, in the ghetto. And it was always painful for me that they talk about the great footballers who came out of the ghetto. And you go there, no standard football ground. Okay, it's because of economic conditions, but nothing happening in the ghetto, not even reference going back to the ghetto. I'll be happy that I transferred to Poland, to Lubin, and some, I don't know, textbooks were bought for the school I was, you know, like as an appreciation of where he came from, something like that. So my football development or my career will always be referred up until Grabowski. So Grabowski is, you know, this guy who took me from Zimbabwe. He did a very good job that way. But my football development always will start there, right? Okay, Costa came with his agent to Poland. That's where it starts. But what about in the ghetto? What about where I was playing in the streets, where I was playing at the school? You know, all this is neglected. So that's where the idea of trying to set up an academy directly in the ghetto where the kids can have a sense of belonging, like this is ours, and whatever happens in their lives, maybe they become professional footballers, maybe they don't, but they still had that ultimate experience that, yeah, we were once at an institution where we enjoyed our times. You know, so that's the origin of this. You know, for me, it was always about how can I help the ghetto, which helped to bring me up to this level. Because for me, it's always about the foundation. It's always about where things start. You know, and my idea was about to give back to that community.
Let's switch topics a bit. You talked about mentality. You told the story about how you had to adjust. It's not a pleasant topic, I'm going to warn you. There are a lot of prejudice still that sometimes in extreme cases lead to racism. How is your experience regarding the area? I'm just going to remind everybody that you were also face of Sparta campaign against racism. And in my personal opinion, I think you and Bonnie were, by your performances and characters, the players that taught a lot of Sparta fans that they can love you even though they have, and I'm gonna say this gently, they have some personal problem with your skin. I hope that's fine.
Right. Yeah. So I remember there was a question that you talked about the best and worst experiences in Sparta. I didn't talk about the worst, I remember. So this was, you know, something that I could say, you know, equates to the worst times, you know, in Sparta Prague, where, you know, people want to judge because of the skin. I had already experienced it in Poland, so it was nothing new. But it's just, you know, you think about it as a player, and sometimes it goes to your emotions, right? But at the same time, you try to focus on what you are and what you came to the club for. And what I understood is that, you know, some of these people, it could be lack of knowledge, or it could be whatever, however they feel and they do it like that. It's not right. It's not good. And like you say, you know, at the club, we tried and still trying to do a number of campaigns against this. But yeah, this is something which has a negative effect, I would say, on foreign players. And we talked here about how the fans drive the team. You know, so if you have foreign players in the team, and if you have fans who are against, you know, players because of their skin color, it doesn't make sense, first of all, and second, it's only negative for the club, you know, because you have a team, you have a group, you have a machine, and you're taking out one part in the machine. You know, it's like you have a car, and you are thinking like the front wheel is not proper, you know, let me take it out, you know, then it won't function well. You know what I'm saying? So in as much as we know that some people doesn't have proper knowledge of why they behave like that. It's still I would say, let's say, painful thing and tough for any player in that position, especially for the youngsters. So we continue with these let's say campaigns in hoping that the future will be better for the upcoming youngsters, upcoming players, anybody.
Do you think that you personally, with your performances and many fans, including us, would call you a legend, that you helped with this? Do you give an example on the pitch?
Yeah, well, first of all, I wouldn't consider myself as a legend. I would just say I'm normal player like anybody else. Who featured for the club. Maybe they are more other legendary players. I think for me, I remember. I tell you the history. I remember the first time I came to Austria. So I saw the fans throw the banana when we were in camp, Okay, I go, I pick it up because I had already experienced this in Poland. But that didn't put me back, right? I went on the field and stepped on the field and I did my best. And I think that way, you had some type of fans making a U-turn, and trying to start to appreciate, even if they don't want to do it, but they're like, okay, it's working, So I think that was let's say to show to the fans, those ones who concentrate on skin color, to show them that no, it's not about the skin color, or it's not about where the player is coming from, but it's about the performance on the pitch, because after the game we go to the fans, we clap hands, everybody is happy at the end, right? So why would you want to be against somebody else because of where they are coming from? It doesn't really make sense. The good thing is that the club, the setup of the club, they understand this issue and they are willing to work positively towards it. That is, trying to change the mindset of people for the future.
Yeah. That's some kind of long-term project as well.
Exactly.
It couldn't be changed in one day, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the important thing is to keep the awareness going, right? To keep, let's say, reminding, because I can imagine if somebody brings a little kid at the stadium. I don't think little kids see color or see any difference between the skin or something. They see human beings, Okay, maybe a little bit different human being, but they say human being. And if they come, they learn from us, right? The little kids, they learn from us. And if they hear you whistling or being against somebody because of their origin, because of their color, they adopt that, So I think that the more that we keep that awareness that this is not appreciable behavior, then the more we hope for the better in the future. Like you said, it's a long-term process. We do understand that, and hopefully, it works well for the future.
Hopefully, we will get a new generation of the fans, if I can say it this way, who will see the things a little bit different.
Yeah, and you already have, I think the majority of the fans, you already have them in the right place. They support the game for the game, and they like the success of the club. Then you have, that other part that, still need to adjust.
Besides that, Sparta fans are doing good job in the stands when they are not missing.
Yeah, you could see this, like the Sparta fans are not like far-right extremists or anything. You could see this with Jakub Jank's reaction. Like, look, like he did a coming out, he first step on the pitch, like everybody clapped. I was cheering his name.
Right.
It was amazing. Yeah.
When we are talking about prejudice, I really don't think that like football fans in Czech Republic are racist.
Yeah. You know, it's like when I came back also, you know, to finish my career and stuff, and you know, I had fans, you know, I appreciate that, you know, that fans that came to the stadium and stand up, you know, clap their hands. I didn't expect that, you know, they should do that, but you know, they did it. So you know that you have fans who have the club at heart, and those type of fans, this is the type of support that the club needs. And like you say that, you know, the other part, it's let's say a project, you know, that, you know, we need to keep the awareness for them that, look, this behavior is unacceptable, because it's all over Europe, right? If something like that happens, it's only a burden for the club also, right? The club is being punished and also affects the results for the team. So, you know, they have to have this all in mind.
In your last answer, you already been talking about the end of the career. After you maybe interrupted playing, you started to study and you graduated at Johan Cruyff Institute. What did your studies give you besides the knowledge you learned?
Yeah, so I started doing whilst I was still playing. It opened my mind, you know, a little bit more. So, you know, when you're playing football, the concentration is always on the game, you know, and you try to think about how best can you be on the pitch. Sometimes you need an outing. Let's say you need to relax your mind. You know, this is also important to relax your mind so that you can have a fresh mind when the game comes. So for me, the studies, they kind of like open my mind, relax my mind. I've always liked, let's say, reading and writing growing up. So adding the studies to my regime opened my mind, actually, gave me some kind of relax, because I started to learn about new stuff, and was exciting for me, you know, if I find some information, or if I talk with my classmates, you know, and we share ideas. So it was a whole lot of new opening for me. It was good for my head.
Okay, it was a mixture of new things, contacts, brand new visions into what you want to do in the future, and of course some, let's say, hard skills of the thing you studied. Am I right? Yeah. So when this idea of studying something or helping the ghetto, it was always in my mind, and I thought, like, you know, if I add a study and I could have a structure of how I can exactly do it, you know. So by exchanging ideas and with the professors and the teachers from the school, you know, talking about all this, and at the same time playing the game and bringing them all together, that was like a way, a new list of life, you know, and learning new skills. Like in the event of I want to set up something, how can I do it, and understanding also the other departments of football, involving football outside just the playing field. Mm-hmm. Was it difficult for you, because it was another chapter of your life?
Yeah, you know, first I had to adapt to the writing and maybe, let's say, reading of some scientific articles and understanding how the writing structure is like, you know, because basically I like writing, let's say, in a more poetic way, you know. I was doing literature at high school, and I liked reading novels and writing more in a skillful way, let's say. But, you know, when you're now studying, it's a little bit different. There's a specific structure that you need to follow. So yeah, it was a little bit of a challenge in the beginning, you know, to get grasp of how to do it. But it wasn't exactly too much of a stress for me, because I had already set my mind that I want to do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
helped this experience to you to run the academy as well?
Yeah, sure, 100%. Because when I was talking with the other teachers there and giving them my ideas, like, you know, the ghetto is like this because, you know, you had to make a research or a thorough research of how the ghetto or how the environment where you want to work, how it is like, you know, and explaining to them and having other new students, classmates, you know, coming up also with ideas and connecting with my people back home, connecting with all these ideas. So I think it helped me to have a direction, you know, like from the beginning. Obviously, this ghetto setup or this academy setup, it came directly from my feeling. It was a feeling thing, which means either way, I was going to do it. But the school helped me to have a little bit of a structure in how to go about it.
One of the main partners of your academy is obviously Sparta. Could you describe for the viewers and listeners how, in like day-to-day or year-to-year basis, does the cooperation work? What does the club provide, and what do you provide back, basically?
Yeah, so the club was I had to learn, you know, spend some time at Strau, for example, see how the academy there functions, how the kids train, you know, and obviously it's different from Zim, you know, in terms of the structures and the economic conditions, or let's say the financial muscle. But you know, I could learn how the kids are treated, how they do it basically. Right, so this was it, and then the club also provided us with equipment, which was really helpful, you know, for us, for the kids back there. Basically, we had nothing, you know. The kids, they play without shirts, you know, which is a style. Even it's like if you have two teams, one team wear clothes and the other one skins. We call them skins. But yeah, you know, the club provided me with equipment, which was really a big help, you know. And obviously, this is a project which is on its let's say on the beginning, and they are watching, you know, closely how the development is going there, because, you know, we have scholarships for some youths there, you know. We help them to go to school, and like I say, also helping the community. So if we look also at the racism part, you see, so this is also another part that, you know, the club, it's Sparta Prague, it's like, okay, you know, I remember it sometime we had, let's say, a picture in the Europe that we are a racist club, or Sparta Prague is a racist club, you know, during the Europe games. But this is also a way for the club, you know, RCS to show the world out there that, you know, this is the club is against that. It's not they're not saying they're not doing anything. So, you know, helping the kids from the ghetto, it's already a step in let's say showing the position of the club. So for now, we're still helping you know, each other in terms of ideas, you know, dressing, and how to raise the kids in an academy, with the hope that, you know, in the future then we might have some other breakthrough kids, but, you know, with time.
It sounds like you are still in the launch phase, in the foundation phase, a little bit of the cooperation between you and Sparta, maybe.
Right, right. More like in the foundation stage, and, you know, and we still have to let's say talk more, discuss more how to go further, because, you know, if you have the players, if you want the players to come, let's say, for the Sparta Prague, then you need ready players. You need the quality, you know. So we're trying to teach them some other aspects there when it comes to their let's say development towards the professional game, because we are separated. You know, this the development towards the professional game. It's a long-term project, and we have the community social part, where we are happy every day with how the kids are behaving, you know, the discipline and the education, and they are learning the ways, let's say the productive ways. And once they have their mind set up in a correct way, then you can develop them further, you know, towards the professional game. It doesn't make sense to push them for the professional game when their mind is not set right. It's a whole different environment here. So I had certain experiences when I came here, and I don't want them to go through the same phase. You know, you want a player to come here knowing that it's important to learn the language. It's important to respect the culture. It's you know, important to have this adaptation. You want the player to already know about it, not that they come here and then they start thinking like, okay, what to do now? Then you lose time. Then you have players who spend much time and they don't really come out to their potential, because they start to learn things when they come here, you know. So the process is to try and prepare them with the hope that, you know, it gets better when they move further.
Even though you are talking about this early phase, and you are in the beginning of the whole journey of the academy, are there any specific objectives or maybe goals that are set between you and Sparta?
Yeah, right now, not any specific goals, you know, because the club also understand that this is at the beginning, not any specific goals. But what I know, or what we know for sure, is that if, you know, they're going to be the caliber of the players, you know, I have an understanding of a caliber of players that could make it here, you know. If such caliber arises, or if such caliber comes, then the club is open to watch them, for example. Which means even we are still on the foundation of, we have a gap, we have an opening where we are saying like, if the players, they are able to prove themselves, or they're able to be of a certain quality, then they have a place where they could, let's say, start or test their abilities. It's, you know, I know it's a big, let's say, leap to Sparta Prague. That's why personally I'm still thinking even of combining or partnering with other smaller clubs. For example, this is my idea now, partnering with other smaller clubs. It can be, you know, in other Division 1 or 2nd Division, because that way, you know, you have players coming without a lot of pressure on them, and they can have that adaptation period on a much more, let's say, relaxed environment, you know, because when we're talking about Sparta, we're talking about already higher level here in the country. That's how it is. Like it's a higher level, and it's about the performance, right? So sometimes if you have younger kids, you know, it might be a bit difficult for them to push them directly into the let's say higher level. Maybe they need this adaptation period slowly.
And they need to go step by step, because
you know,
the current level is not that high to reach the expectation of Sparta Prague, for example.
Right.
You might get, for, I don't know, Vyškov is working with some African players,
right,
some kind of that club.
Right.
Vlašim also.
Táborsko.
Yeah, things like this, you know, like, you know, they come and then they develop like that, but also, you know that the club they're watching, they know that, you know, they are players like this. So that's you know, the next move.
We are going to continue on our herohero.co/Sparťanské Noviny account. A pro vás, kteří chcete vidět i zbytek epizody, tak právě na této webové adrese najdete zbytek naší epizody s naším vzácným hostem Costou.